Alright, actually just had a conversation with a buddy of mine on one of the BST pages on Facebook. He's looking for a new barrel. Doesn't know quite what he's looking for. He's been talking about what threading his gun is, and he's looking for a barrel but doesn't know exactly what bore size he wants or what the difference is. So, this is one of the videos I was talking about earlier will be directed for newer players. I'm going to be redoing this video with a much better camera and a little bit better equipment later on, but for right now, I'll just post this up for some feedback. Say whatever you want, but here we go. Alright, so pretty much the most standard barrel kit on the market is the Freak Kit bore system. Now what this is you'll have your barrel. This is one that I had custom made by a buddy of mine down in Oregon, and you've got a series of inserts or sleeves that you shove in to determine the exact bore size depending on the paint you're using that day. The boring is measured in thousandths of an inch. Typically, like when you hear 68 caliber, that's .680 inches. So we've got our kit here ranging from .693, and I've got my lowest is 682. I think the lowest they make now is 674, 675, somewhere around there. Paint over the years has gotten smaller and smaller, as many of you know, especially those in drier areas. I've got friends that live down in like Georgia, areas like that, and you know, the more humid environments, paint swells up, so it's a little bit larger when it's coming from the manufacturer distributor. Up here in Washington State, I used to shoot 691 all day, every week, never have a problem with it. Now I'm at 8.5, probably next season I'll be down to 8.2, 8.3, kind of depending on what Draxus or GI what does, depending on, you know, how much they improve or change their formulas. So, the basics on what you need as far as the bore size of a barrel really involves testing. You kind of have to know what paint you have available to you. Now, this is just a bag of Draxus bronze that I've had laying around. I've got some other stuff, but I think this will be a pretty good example. It's, you know, right in the middle, mid-grade paint. You know, it's a little more expensive than the basic, but it's definitely not gold. So, what you want to do is start with your best estimated guess. For the most part, we'll go ahead and just say that 691 has typically been good for you in the past. So, pick up a ball, drop it through. You can see that it slides right through, doesn't stop at all, so that's too large. What you're looking for is a bore that will stop the paint just about halfway through and that you have to blow it out the other side. So here's 687. Not too bad. Yeah, see there's another one. A couple of them went all the way through, so still probably a little bit too big. So let's bring it down to a 682, and this is what I use most of the time. Drop a few balls in. There you go. One through. Alright, 3 getting stuck in there out of 4 total. Sounds about perfect to me. A lot of people these days, actually, because paint has been getting rounder and easier to get a hold of, will do what's called underboring. That means that you will actually have less room in the barrel or less air going around the ball than you normally would. If you're shooting really, really fragile paint, or if you don't have the softest shooting gun on the market, a lot of times this will lead to an excess of barrel breaks. Only underbore your paint if you are using very, very good, very, very round, high quality paint. You don't want to be doing this with basic. You don't want to underbore with your standard field upgrade, any of that. For the most part, this is how you determine your accuracy and your efficiency. For years and years and years, the myth was, oh, longer barrel will give you better accuracy and extend your range, because people were used to standard ballistics like, you know, rifles, pistols, things like that. Have a longer barrel, it'll maintain a truer flight path, yada, yada, yada. Paintball, not so much. All that matters is really the bore size. I will say that I have found very, very, very wide results with the length of bore when I'm using even the same bore size, which is kind of the premise for my next test. Show you, got the Shaft 4, which is a 2-piece barrel. It's reverse threaded, I should probably remember that. So this has an 8-inch control bore. compared to the shorter, looks like 5-inch, 4.5-inch Freak barrel. So you have the paintball that stays inside the bore, gets a little bit longer of a run while it's in the same control bore. Then it goes to the tip, which is going to be a larger, I think this is about 695, maybe even 670, just because once it gets into the tip from the bore, it doesn't actually make contact with the sides of the barrel at all. So the paint goes through the back bore. As soon as it leaves this point, it starts losing velocity. The very, 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 very second that it leaves this point, starts losing velocity, goes downhill. Tips are used for stabilization, different porting involved. I know a lot of different people will buy larger barrels so that they can manipulate their bunkers better, but you know, I'm a 12-inch guy. I don't need anything bigger than that. If I'm playing if I'm overboring my shot, then yeah, I'll use a little bit of a longer barrel, but it really depends if I need to be super quiet or not. The length of the barrel will make your shot a little bit quieter, but only if the porting is done properly. Lots of different companies have very widely varying ways to do porting. You can see this has the 3 runs of 2 holes along the side. This is my Bob Long one-piece. Now, one-piece barrels, the back is the same as the front. This is going to be the same for your CP critical lurker barrels. 685 on the back, 685 in the front, solid boring all the way through. But the porting, you can see, starts about 70% of the way up the barrel. So it has a little bit different characteristics than the Shaft 4, which is why I'm going to be doing my tests in the future. I'll show you guys the difference between these, and I will ultimately find the best barrel on the market if I get enough companies involved. So what you're looking for, just kind of as an overview, find out what kind of paint is at your field, find somebody with preferably a free kit with a whole bunch of inserts, start dropping stuff through and figure out what works best for you. If you're shooting 685 paint through a 693 barrel, your efficiency is going to suffer greatly, your consistency over the chronograph is going to widely vary and suffer, as well as your performance, and your accuracy will suffer as well. Having too much room also may lead to barrel breaks just as much as underboring your paint. So you want to find that good relationship with, whatever gun you're shooting. Some guns like to be underbored, overboard. I shoot an Alien Independence. I overbore a ton because I have to give room for that ball to spin backwards, which you guys will hear about in the future. Haters, insert comments now below in those little things and I'll nag at you later. Anyways, Shane, so take a look, let me know what you think. I've got plenty available for you. Just hit me up and we'll work something out. Rift Dog out.